Good morning, good morning. Morning, Vito. All right, we have a few orders of business this morning. So I adjusted my scans. Thank you to Eli for reaching out to me and giving me some suggestions. My stream layout is a little bit different today. We have the news scan on stream right now instead of the actual scans. The actual scans aren't going to fit on the stream right now. So I'll be testing my scans a little bit. But the second order of business is we're going to be putting our foot down on our psychology. We're wasting way too many opportunities, and we're not going to be successful with our strategy unless we do put our foot down. So, morning Doom Trades. So I'm going to take these sticky notes that I wrote yesterday, and I am putting them over my P&L on screen. We're going to focus entirely on the process. And while I'm trading, I'm going to be focusing on, I mean, it might sound silly, but I'm going to be focusing on breathing, my posture, and my tension in my body as I'm getting into trades and trying to relax myself. And whenever I get into a trade, as long as I see the 5 pillars of stock selection are there, I'm going to anchor myself to the most important thing, what I think is the most important thing, which is volume profile for my commitment to a trade. And we'll see how those work out for me. But I'm going to be doing my best not to miss opportunities here. This one goes over this one. One goes there. Can't see our P&L any longer. And I gotta fix my scanners because they're yelling at me when they shouldn't be. I do not need text-to-speech on this. I need text-to-speech on that one. Oh, that's fine. Morning, TIG. Or TIG. I don't know if you prefer me to call you TIG or TIG. Sometimes I end up defaulting to the first 3 letters for some reason whenever someone has a name that I've never never seen before. A little bit of an odd habit. My apologies. Tig, sounds good. Sure. So that's not yelling at me anymore, which is good. Yeah, I see that. I'm not really interested in this here. I have it open because it is second top leading gainer. LGCL, I think was, yeah, I was selling off below VWAP. So this is the only really thing up on the day. The third leading gainer is a super penny. This is at least only $1, but pretty thickly traded. I don't think I'm interested in this. Too thickly traded for me. See if I can. Yep, I'm pretty much waiting for news here. I don't see anything right now. I have to take care of something on the side. No, NEUP. I still have some drawings from a year ago. Pink was when I like very first used TradingView, like back when I first started in August. NEUP is too many topping tails. The chart doesn't look very nice. So I'm not really interested in this. One thing I do need to change is I need to change that to be icon. There we go. Yeah, it did break through VWAP. But because of these previous topping tails, I probably wouldn't even take a trade on it until it broke high of day. When a stock has a history of jackknifing like this, they usually just do it over and over again. From 440 down to, 390. You'd probably find that this stock has like a shelf registration or something. Hey, adversary. Yeah, I see ADVB here, but it's very light volume. It's going to be very risky. If I open up the level 2, the spreads are going to be like 20, 30 cent spreads. Yeah, like 30 cent, 40 cent spreads. We're on the backside of a move here from regular hours, which went up to 18. The big topping tail on the daily. It's going to be a lot of bag holders going up. A bit too risky for me. It's also only up 19% on the day right now. Don't know if it's going to be obvious enough to people. It is up quite a bit on continuation. It did start at $5 when the move started, but this is fourth day of continuation now. The volume is naturally going to be a little bit lighter. The move is going to be slowing down. Gonna get rid of these levels. Might not be applicable anymore. All-time highs are at $80. I mean, this might have been an okay, like, bull flag-ish type of pattern for the bounce off of VWAP. First candle make a new high 15 up to 1593. But the risk reward on this isn't very good. So, like, let's say I get in at 50 and it instantly reverses. Because the spreads are so big, 30-cent spreads sometimes, I'm going to be down 30 cents the moment I enter. So even if I take like a 20-cent stop, which is going to get me stopped out because this thing is so whippy. Even if I take like a 20-cent stop, I'm probably going to get out like 30 cents lower than I intend to. So it's going to be, 50 cents or more of risk if I'm not fast enough. And from 15 up to the previous high here, which was 1580. I mean, we're kind of just looking at a 1-to-1 risk reward conservatively. I'm not too optimistic that this is going to break and just go crazy. Usually on these higher price stocks, I prefer to take like 50-cent stops or like, 35-cent stops with the intention of stopping out by like 50 cents. But the risk reward on this isn't that great, I don't think. Too many topping tails. We're on the backside of this big move on JEM from July 2nd. As far as I can tell, this doesn't have any fresh news. It is moving quickly, but yeah, that's what I thought. We gotta be careful about stocks like this. Hopefully nobody got caught in that. If you were quick enough to buy the break, I mean, you could have scalped out at 650. It did make a big move, but it was on lighter volume, this break. So it was a bit riskier. I'd rather wait for news right now, I think. Like waiting for 7:30, just sitting tight. Yeah, if you're able to get out. I mean, the volume did increase pretty quickly, like a lot quicker in the second candle, but it did drop really fast there. Huge jackknife. All right, we got matters taken care of. So 5 minutes to 7:30. I take a break to make a coffee at some point if we don't get news, because I did make a coffee before I sat down here, but then I took a sip and it tasted terrible. I don't know why, so need to make another one, but I have some lemonade here instead. So if we get something that looks good at 7:30, I'm going to be doing my best to focus on my mindset. We're going to let our tension leave our body. We're going to focus on our breathing. And I just need to make sure that kind of let go of that fear of loss. As long as the pattern looks good, as long as it meets the criteria of stock selection, as long as the volume profile looks good and it's holding the 9 EMA, and we got to let our stock selection do the work and kind of let go of our illusion of control in a certain sense. You got to go into your config. So you press this cog button here on the level 2 interface, and it brings up a preferences window. And at the very bottom, the top column, the window column, you change it to Old Classic. There's 3 options: New, Zero Pro, Old Classic, and Sterling Green. You can pick whichever one you prefer. And then you can change the font in the Colors tab if you want. I did briefly have it Arial Black. I just never saved my layout. Maybe I'll try it again. No problem. Nice job getting a scalp on JEM. Gotta get in and out quickly on this one. Get in, get green, and get out, or else you risk getting in on these false breakouts. Close that. Keep that open. So I'm watching for news. Here at the bottom of the hour. This is only up 25% right now. The news is secures new US patent. I don't usually like patent headlines. I don't believe that this is going to be very strong. So we didn't take a position here as it popped up because one, I don't like patent headlines. Two, it's not up enough on the day. And it ends up tanking there. So words of the wise, always check the news before you take the position. Because you risk getting in chasing green candles without realizing that it's probably going to reverse on you while the volume is still light. If the news isn't that good, sometimes you get algo spikes on certain news, but then when traders look further into what it is, they realize this isn't so good. I'm going to short it. So it might have a pop there, an algo spike, and then a few traders jumping in. There's not enough buying volume, so the short sellers just eat it alive. $1.71 it looks like for 100 shares. So, I mean, JEM is our leading gainer now. Got this flat top above 659, 660. I gotta fix this. Here we go. I just have a problem with these jackknife rejections, these topping tail rejections. Well, I think the answer is somewhere in between. You have the market makers, right, that are always buying from retail traders and then, putting them on the bid and the ask. But the market makers, when there is a certain amount of risk, like if it's breaking out of a range, breaking out of standard deviation, then the market makers pull back their orders, right? They pull back their orders on the ask, and that's how you get spikes. And as retail traders and algorithms are buying, the market makers are pulling back their orders at the same time. So there's a third category that you didn't mention there, which is market makers. And sometimes that's why the bid can fall out from underneath you too if there's very light volume. The market makers are pretty much the entirety of the volume on a stock that's, kind of trading with small share size, chopping sideways, which it is a trading algorithm in its own way. So sometimes the bid can just fall out from underneath you because the market makers pull their bids away. If it's breaking out of standard deviation, that's when you get a big flush sometimes. And then you have short sellers jumping on as well. Yeah, like I'm aware that this is a top leaning gainer, but once it has a history of doing topping tails and rejections like that, it becomes very hard for me to trust. So there could be a point where this pulls away, but right now I'm not interested in it. It needs to get above high of day and hold, and then continue higher with volume. But we are still on the backside of this big move. I'm not really that optimistic about it. take a look at the overall market. What's the S&P 500 doing? Huh, this is kind of interesting. On the daily, this is just kind of chopping around sideways. I think people are unsure about what's going on with the Iran war. There have been periods where it's kind of chopped sideways before, but with a general uptrend. This doesn't really look like it has an uptrend. It looks more like uncertainty to me. That's interesting. US oil is back on the rise as well. Almost is coming back up to the highs back before there was supposed to be an agreement. Be careful holding on this because we've got decreasing volume on the 5 minute now. Even though it is coming up near high of day, I'm not so sure that this is going to be able to break through. It could be at breaking point very soon. We kind of got an ascending support trend line there. Maybe. Kind of cuts through this back candle down here, but we've got these connecting. So, what does it do? What does it do here, right? Does it finally break this trend line? Or does it go higher? But volume on the 5 minute is starting to decrease. And MACD's negative. Morning, Jay. Yeah, I realized I didn't save my layout last time, and it went back to my old font, so I changed it again to give it a chance. Because I didn't really trade with it on the day that I changed it. I think that was on Monday. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Tig. So do I take this opportunity to make a coffee? Or am I gonna get out of my seat and JEM's gonna break through high of day and go up 300%? Doesn't really look like this trend line is valid anymore. Candles are kind of going through it. I'm not entirely sure about this trend line. Well, I'm gonna make a coffee quick. The market makers hate me, so I'll let you guys trade this. As soon as I get up out of my seat, this is gonna break through and go up 300%. So get ready. Be right back. Turn off. Turn this off a second. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Doesn't look like we missed anything. Now we got the coffee. Darn. How could I miss that? My mug kind of looks like an upside down bell or a flower petal or something. See, I have other mugs here too. I didn't bring my mug upstairs from yesterday. I have a cat mug too. Got sunglasses. Don't nobody say anything about the pink. Pink is a man's color. All right. I think I need to get some green mugs for the psychological effect. I don't have any green mugs. And honestly, pink is kind of close to red, so maybe I should get rid of that one. Blue is calming. The mug that I have right now is kind of blue. Or that's good. A blue Viking mug. So, I mean, Domo is popping up here. The news was from yesterday. It looks a little bit grindy to me. The float is too high for me as well. 36 million shares. This is going to be a grindy stock. If we stick by our pillars of stock selection, we shouldn't trade this. So we got a minute and a half to 8 a.m. Watching for news. I have to watch my posture. Remain relaxed. PN. Unfortunately, I messed up my continuation scanners, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to see today, but if you give me the symbol so I can look. Oh yeah, made a move from 473 all the way up to 11. We've been having quite a few big movers like this during regular market hours recently that pop up in close to power hour or earlier on in the day. It's come back down now. So this probably isn't something that I'm particularly interested in trading today. If it breaks back up and continues its move over 11 maybe, but it's pulled pretty far back here. Just on my gainer scanner. No. This has news, strategic agreement, biotech stock, 5 million share float. Doesn't have enough volume right now. It's a bit more expensive. So just be careful if you're jumping in here because the volume is very light. If I open up the level 2, the spreads are going to be pretty big. But we do have a big gap here above 1224. It is up 60% now. Okay, so we got some volume coming in. Where does it base out? Looks like it might be basing out at 16. It's got a huge range. It's going to be riskier. 8 seconds left on that candle close. I also think that this is a little bit expensive for me. little bit of a tweezer top on the 1 minute. Yeah, Ross didn't take a trade on this either, so I'm guessing that we had the same thoughts. I'm keeping his stream minimized so it doesn't affect me at all, but I just pulled it up to check. Yeah, the first 1 minute candle already got pretty extended with just 50,000 shares of volume. Went from 9 all the way up to 1350. Yeah, 950 or so. Like 4 points. Second candle was still sort of light on volume. Bigger spreads. If it holds up and it curls back up, then maybe I would consider it because we are in a gap here. So if it can actually hold up and curl back up near high of day, then that'll be proving its strength. And I can be a little bit more confident about jumping in. There's gonna be a bit more volume because this is now our second leading gainer. But I have to wait for this to curl up with more volume, or else I'm just not gonna trade it down here. Well, this isn't our second leading gainer anymore. Sorry, I misspoke. My leading gainer seems to be not updating super frequently for some reason. Maybe I gotta figure out why it's doing that. It was our second leading gainer, now it's our fourth leading gainer. It was showing 60% when I said that. Yeah, it's updating periodically. I need to figure out if there's a setting to increase the periodic updates on it. But that's an after stream thing. We'll do that later. Because that's already the second time that I've looked at the leading gainers and made a decision based off of that, or spoke aloud up based off of that. Well, it was incorrect. Eli, if you're in the chat, I am liking the 5 pillar scan so far. I do like the text to speech on it. And the high of day momentum scanner definitely has a bit more range, I think. I'm 30 years old. My birthday is in November, so I'll be turning 31 in August, September, October, November, like 4 months. When I turned 30 last year, I felt like I aged a decade in an instant. We're both middle-aged men now. I don't have kids or anything like that, no. No kids. I'm too busy for dating right now, so I'm still living with my family at home even though I have my own house. I'm renting out my own house right now to save money, and then I'll probably move in a few years. But I'm using this time to save as much as possible and hopefully be successful at trading and at writing. And now I suppose doing the YouTube thing as well so that I can be self-sufficient. Plan is I'm going to save up as much money as possible, try and build up an account in trading. And by the time I make the decision to move out, then I'll have a long runway. It's just that living expenses in Canada are so ridiculous right now that it's a bit difficult to live on your own. Like buy a house and live on your own. You kind of need to split it with somebody. So I have my sister living there in the upper half right now, and I'm renting the basement. Like I have a decent job and I can barely afford I would barely be able to afford the house on my own. Probably wouldn't even be able to. I'd have to eat ramen every day because groceries are so expensive. And I live in a smaller city here in Ontario, so I don't have all of the amenities that Americans do. We don't have a lot of the we don't have a lot of good restaurants here. We don't have a lot of stuff. But the benefit of Canada is that we have fresh lakes and camps literally everywhere. And there's a lot of parks, a lot of trees, a lot of open, fresh spaces for you to do stuff, a lot of golf courses, even though we have snow half the year. But a lot of Americans like to come up here for fishing. So that's the bonus, right? Depends on what lifestyle you prefer. If you prefer the camping lifestyle and the fishing and the outdoors, you got trails everywhere, you got mountains to climb. But if you prefer the the city life with all of the amenities and the restaurants and the food and places to go, things to see, connecting with other people, probably Canada is not your best bet unless you're living in Toronto. But Toronto's so jam-packed that it might not be so good. Hey, you're green on the day island. Nice. Adversary, you got 5 years on me? 35? I think 30 is still kind of young, right? 30 to 30, 35. I don't think you're considered middle-aged until you're 40. I don't feel the aches and creaks in my bones quite yet. Well, what you have to worry about here in Canada is moose. I suppose crocodiles are more dangerous in the water, but moose are extremely dangerous. Moose are some of the most dangerous animals alive because they're actively aggressive. A male moose in heat is almost like certain to attack you if you get too close. Or sometimes if they even see you, they'll charge you because they're just nasty creatures. They're a little bit rarer, but Yeah, it's got quite a bit of volume up here. You might have to clear 150 according to these daily levels. You got a daily level here at 148, and you got some levels back here as well, 153, 147. So if it clears 139, it's got 10 cents of room to move before it hits the next daily level. This is going to be a bit of a grinder. It's very thickly traded. Like if I open up the level 2 on it, yeah, you got stacks. It's stacked. That I don't know about Robbie. I probably need to do more research into market makers. I vaguely understand how they work, but I don't know what their restrictions are. Like, I don't think market makers short. Market makers make the market, so they buy from people and they like so let's like for example, let's say you have like 1,000 buyers and 1,000 sellers, right? The market makers will buy immediately from those sellers and turn around and immediately post them on, you know, on the bid or the ask for people to buy. So they're the ones that are like making the liquidity in the market. So I don't think that they do short selling. I think the institutional investors and hedge funds and retail traders are the ones that do the short selling and the ones that do the buying. But the market makers, what they do is they'll say, I'll buy this from you right now at a certain price so that they can make money on the spreads. They're the ones that like kind of control the liquidity almost. But if they're in the middle of making the market, as I mentioned earlier, and they've just bought a bunch of stuff, bought a bunch of shares, and it's starting to break out of standard deviation, they just make sure that they're pulling their orders back so that they're not losing money. That's what their algorithms do. But I do need to look closer into exactly how they work to give you like a comprehensive response. But that's what I'm aware of what they do, or how I've interpreted it at least. But it is certainly important to understand that, because that's why buying in on light volume is so dangerous, because light volume is usually almost exclusively market makers and trading algorithms. So if you buy in on super light volume, the algorithms will pull away their orders before you can react sometimes. How bids fall out from underneath you and it just tanks down $1 a share instantly. On these stocks that have more volume, they have million, 2 million, 3 million shares of volume. There's going to be a lot more liquidity that aren't algorithms and market makers. There are going to be retail traders. There are going to be other algorithms that are buying and selling. But the market makers still do have an effect. That's why we can see parabolic momentum, is because market makers just disappear, right? When something is breaking out of standard deviation, the market makers just uh, stop making the market, and that's how you get parabolic momentum. They don't want to lose money, so they do what they need to do. They disappear. But that's also why buying the chop is also very difficult to make money on, because now you're competing with algorithms and market makers while the stock is consolidating. That's what when I came to the realization of where my edge is and where Ross's edge is, why we have an edge when you got the broken slot machine concept. Something when a stock is doing something out of the ordinary, that's where we have our edge, because the market makers stop making the market, the algorithms are less active, and you're not competing as much with all of the nonsense that while a stock is consolidating. Well, it's breaking out and making new highs and breaking out of standard deviation. That's when the broken slot machine happens, and you have a tailwind at your back. You have some positive expected value. That's why I don't trade the chop. It's just it doesn't have a very good EV for me, and that's the understanding that I came to, and what made me stop trading around areas that's not doing one of three things: breaking out and making new highs, breaking out of a range, or is fresh on breaking news. There's less less EV, less risk reward on the chop. So I haven't seen Momentum Trader today. Wonder if he's late. So we're coming up to 8:30 here in about a minute. Ross did. I think he bought JEM, but he made peanuts on it. Looks like he bought at 573, 578, 589. He made like 500 bucks. He probably bought close to the breakout level and it just didn't end up working. Probably got out with a small win. But he hasn't traded anything else. I wasn't watching when he bought, so I don't know exactly when he did. Morning, Momentum Trader. We got another boring day today so far. This does have 8:30 news. Increase in valuation. It's not up enough right now. Morning, NCDs. Good luck to you too. I've been hoping that we get something that pops up that meets my criteria, because I mean this is the wrong way to think about it, but I want to work on my hesitation and my mentality. But it's precisely this type of mindset that gets me in trouble. I just need to stay relaxed, follow my rules, and not think about anything else. So this ended up breaking out, kind of pulling away a little bit there. It's reaching that next level right now. Well, I are you using US Weeble or the Canadian Weeble? I actually tested the Canadian Weeble the other day and I didn't like it at all, I'll be honest. I don't think I'm ever going to use Weeble if I don't have to. It is commission free, but the hotkeys are so limited, and like the sizing on it, like resizing the windows and stuff. Yeah, it's not good, I'm gonna be honest. I don't trade, like I'm not a hyper scalper, so I don't mind paying the commissions on Trade Zero if it can get me some better fills. Because like it's a couple dollars a day, and realistically, if I'm taking like one or two trades a day, I'm gonna be paying like $4 in commissions. It's not that big of a deal. I'd rather just have the guarantee that I can get better fills and I have all of the hotkeys that I need, so that I'm kind of prepared and practiced for trading with bigger size. I think Weeble is a good starter for a beginner. If you're like a really beginner trader, you have your basic hotkeys: buy on the ask, sell on the bid. You don't really need anything else. And if you're trading with 5 or 10 shares, or like a really small share size, Weeble probably is okay still. Like I think Weeble might be better than Trade Zero in that case if you're trading with one or 5 or 10 shares. Better than Questrade, at least for Canadian options. But I think Weeble is something that you will have to graduate from eventually if you want to trade slightly bigger share size, 50, 100 shares. Webull is something to graduate from. I trade 50 to 100 shares quarter size. It depends on the price. So my share size depends on like float, it depends on price, and it depends on how quickly the stock is moving. What the ranges are. So if it's got huge ranges and it's a higher price and a lower float, it's going to be moving like dollar share ranges. I'm going to be trading like 20 shares, 10 shares, very small share size. If it's like the five to $9 ranges, I'm going to be trading like 50 shares because it's going to be a bit, bit bigger ranges. And then if it's like $2 to $6, then I might trade 100 shares quarter size. And if it's like below $2, then I might trade 200 shares because it's going to be moving in like 10-cent ranges. But it depends on how quickly it's moving, what the ranges are, and what the float is. Kind of got to do an assessment in the moment to make a decision. It's also based on your risk too. If you're going to be risking 50 cents, like if your stop is 50 cents away, like I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to buy 100 shares. I'm going to buy 20 shares. So I'm not risking a huge portion of my account so that I don't get myself into a loss that I can't stomach. But my stops are also variable depending on what the ranges are, so I don't accidentally get stopped out, depending on what the ranges are, and also where the nearest levels of support are compared to my entry. Good WLDS popping up here. I don't see what the news is on it though. Only up 24% right now. But if you're trading at least like 50 shares, I mean, the commission is only $1 or $2. You can easily make, even if you pull 10 cents out of the market with 50 shares, I mean, that's $5, right? Commissions are going to eat a big part of it. This is going to be $2 for $2 in total, $1 for your buy, $1 for your exit. But that's not really the concern while you're a beginner, right? What you're aiming for as a beginner or an intermediate is break even. We're not trading with bigger share size because we have the potential to lose more money rather than worry about commissions. Morning, Duvan. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So this didn't hold up. WBuy has been moving, but it's going to be too thickly traded for me. It's going to pop and then go sideways and pop and go sideways. I don't usually do well on these cheaper stocks, so we're going to leave it alone. WBuy. My stock selection criteria is in the $2 to $10 range. It is interesting though. I mean, whoever bought for the break of 140 here, nice job. This was a 5-minute cup and handle pattern. Since it curled back up and it did a 5-minute bull flag here after tapping high of day. The entry point was the high of 134, expecting the break through 140 and the move higher. So it was a pattern there. I'm just not watching it because I don't want to get sucked into a trade outside of my stock selection. I just want to follow my rules. Is this curling back up? Nope. I guess we're just waiting for 8:45, 9 a.m. then. Oh, I had to sneeze there for a second. position in range today. Let's see, I have one, or do I? Where's my new space here? Might be something to test out, but I don't really have too much space to be including more columns. Might have space on like my my running up scan. Columns. Position in today range. Oh, that's quite interesting. WBUY is 90% because it's very close to its high of day. I would probably still look at them sometimes. Like for example, here for a breakthrough VWAP. I was looking at this because it does have potential being a Chinese stock on the curl up here. If it can break through this 260 level, it might start getting attention. So this would be a stock that's like 50% in range, but you might want to look at it anyways. But I get what you mean. It's definitely useful. Sometimes sometimes it might, well, sometimes it might not be so useful if the ranges kind of are just begun. So if the stock is up 50% on the day, but maybe it's hanging around the, or maybe only up 30% on the day, but it's hanging around the 25 or 20% mark, then it would be like 70% position in range or 60, 66% position in range. But it, since it's fresh, then it has a high likelihood of potentially breaking out. It's closer to high of day than it would be like something like this, which is consolidated for a long period of time. I get what you mean, though. I mean, it's useful. We'll test it out for a bit. Morning, Kingman. So we're kind of just sitting tight for 9 a.m. news. Ross still hasn't really made any money today. He has like a five. He's a $500 in the green right now. Only took one trade, which kind of failed. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything today. On any of my trades. This is climbing. It's now our third leading gainer. Got some nice lunch money there. One thing I'm concerned about is that this is still kind of on the backside of a move on the daily chart, like back here. This was back in June, though. This is back when the Chinese stocks were going crazy. Five-day was up there. It doesn't have any news. It's just a Chinese stock with no news. We'll see what it does on this pullback if it holds this 260 level, this previous pivot. Doesn't seem to be holding. And we have a big topping tail on the 5-minute. Might have considered this trade if it held 261 for bull flag pattern here. And the potential move up through 285. Probably a 10-cent stop. It doesn't look like it's holding now. The reason is because there's nothing else in focus right now. JEM sold off, and I think WBuy is also in a pullback right now. MACD's negative. If this held up, it could have been in focus. This Chinese stock's been moving pretty well recently, even with no news. Yeah, forms a big shooting star candle. WBuy has blue sky? I don't think so. WBuy's all-time high is up at 1,750. It's got the 200 moving average up around 290. If this holds up, I mean, maybe I'll consider it at the open for gap and go. But I traded a gap and go yesterday and lost on it. Technically, gap and goes, I didn't include them as part of my setups in my playbook. I used to. I used to trade gap and goes. I'm still not sure if I want to include them or not. Red green moves and high day breaks and stuff. This kind of looks like a reverse head and shoulders pattern on the 5-minute. If it holds and breaks through VWAP on JEM. I see EH Geo curling back up there also. A little bit more expensive. I'm not sure what EHGO is going to do here after that big rejection off of 273. You're going to do it again? This is starting to move quickly. It breaks at 285 level. I bet there's some big sellers popping up on it. What I would like to see on this would be a proper 1 minute pullback, holding maybe 275. It's not instant, no. If you do it during regular hours, then it's pretty fast, but it's not instant. Like it needs to go through the service department, I guess, to get it deposited. So if you transfer it like after like at 8 a.m. or on the weekend or something, it's not going to be deposited until regular hours. That's e-transfer. You might be able to set up like a bank account thing with Wire or something, but I don't think I can trust ADVB. I mean, this is the second time where it's done this, where it's got like huge topping tails and it's got huge ranges and it's light volume. I think I'm good on EDVB. I'm just going to continue watching EHGO. This could be an ABCD pattern. But I don't like that we're going to be closing with a topping tail on the 5 minute. That 10,000 share seller popping up there at 284. It's bought through. That ends up working there. It just seems too thickly traded. It's very grindy. And there's sellers popping up at 3 now. I don't like how we have this big, huge projection back here, and then we also have another topping tail right here. We also have this cluster of nonsense all the way back in June. This does have potential if it continues holding, but it needs to pull away. It needs to not grind up 10 cents and go sideways. What is this? We're on the backside of a move on ZCMD. This is that stock that halted up quite a bit yesterday. Registered direct offering. I was about to say, like, why is this popping up on a direct offering? There's that rule, read the news before you buy the stock. Yeah, EHGO dumps now. Well, this is a really slow market. I don't think there's a single opportunity that I liked today so far. Like this was honestly the best one right there for that ABCD pattern. But even this I don't like because the risk reward on it isn't great. It's a grindy stock, grindy price action with a bunch of topping tails. And I think Ross would agree with me because he hasn't taken any other trades today. Like, look at this thing curling back up again after it has two huge rejection candles on the 5 minute. I don't think it's a trash market. I think that we have a lot of traders sitting on the sidelines willing to jump in because we've had big 200, 300% moves. It just, we need a stock with news to come out, pop up. And then that's where the money is where traders are jumping into the first 3 1 minute candle extensions on breaking news. We just need to get the news. So yeah, I mean it's a trash market without that for sure. But I've seen it worse. I've seen the market when you get news and it pops and then immediately fails every single time. That's even worse because you're sitting around all day not doing anything, waiting for something to hold up. It might take a while for something to actually pop up and hold up. But at least there are stocks that are popping up 200, 300% occasionally. That's giving us some opportunity when they do happen. On Monday and Tuesday that happened, and I hesitated on both of them. And so I missed my green for the week, basically. Which is why I'm trying to put my foot down on my psychology and say no more hesitation. We're fixing it today, starting today, but there's nothing to fix today. Like there's just nothing interesting. So I think there is opportunity. And Momentum Trader and some of the others are getting some small wins, some small coffee money on some scalps for sure. If you're quick enough and you're experienced enough, you probably could. I mean, Ross got $500 on JEM just doing a quick scalp on one trade, but it's going to be more difficult. It is riskier, but that's where stock selection starts becoming so important. And like getting a feel for an experience and reading the news and stuff. Seeing if it is holding a certain level before you buy in, not just jumping in instantly. Seeing if it does a proper micro pullback. Sometimes the stocks do give more opportunity than just the first 3 1 minute candles. That's definitely where the most money is to be made. Like the thing is that as long as you cut your losers quickly, if it doesn't work out, the upside reward, as long as your stock selection is good, is pretty insane right now. Like $1 to $3 per share on the first 3 1 minute candles. ZCMD. Yeah, what happened here? I don't. I mean, they announced an offering. I don't know why it's coming back up. Doesn't make any sense. But sometimes, these stocks that pop up 200, 300% do give some more opportunities sometimes. Recently, it's more like they pop up on the first 3 1 minute candles and then because they're so extended, they need a period of consolidation. And then you can kind of buy the curl back through high of day. that's pretty much what sentiment has been recently. So those are the two opportunities to look for, in my opinion. Bad news is the good news now. Direct offering? Hell yeah, let's lose some money. Do I get demonetized on YouTube for swearing? I don't know if I do. I haven't looked into that. Oh, Ross is getting smoked. I don't know why Ross bought on that. Maybe he also thought the bad news was the good news. Ross just took a $10,000 loss on that, buying this pullback. He just bought ZCMD, first candle to make a new high here. He got smoked on this this rejection on the 10-second. Let's look at EHGO here. It's coming back up. There might be a pivot here at $3. So EHGO is our third leading gainer, Chinese stock with no news. MACD is close to curling positive. So does it hold this 285 level? We've got 30 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. Closes with a topping tail. I don't particularly like. MACD still negative. I'm thinking that if this can break through 3, then it might pop through high of day. It is riskier though because of all this nonsense, topping tails. It might be better just to leave it alone, I'm not sure. Coming back down. What is going on with ZCMD? It's curling. This isn't, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Direct offering news. Oh, Ross. I feel bad for Ross. He's acting as liquidity for the market right now. He's getting a bit stubborn. He he's in on it again, but he's got in on another false breakout rejection. I feel bad for laughing. I see him green so often that I feel a little bit of Schadenfreude, whatever that word is. The god has red days too, kind of thing. He's still holding. We could come back up here. He could get out of this trade green, but he's down. He's down 11, almost 12,000 right now. But he's gonna make $40,000 tomorrow, so it won't matter. I wish I could get to that level someday. So if I'm looking at market open, I mean, what do we have? W buy is kind of holding up, but these are gonna have, because it started below $1, it's probably gonna have tighter halt bands. So I mean, W buy is a maybe. It did have news today. LGCL, no news. I don't know why View app isn't showing on this, but probably no. EHGO maybe, because Chinese stocks have been going so crazy recently. If it can pop up over 3, maybe. JEM, still kind of doing, popped up there and failed. Maybe if it could pop up through VWAP, has a chance, but it doesn't have any news. LABT is just a bounce off the low that's popping up here. It's not really interesting to me. Just crawling up again. MACD is curling positive on this. 5-minute candle close in 50 seconds. I'm thinking that maybe if this breaks through 3, it could be in focus. So it breaks there. I was waiting for the candle to finish closing before I bought. Let's see if we can get in on a micro pullback here. It gives us a micro pullback. I missed my entry on the breakthrough 3. It pops all the way up to 4. That's right before market open too. That's unfortunate. Oh wow, Ross got a huge winner on that. Yeah, see that loss on ZCMD didn't make a difference for him. He just made it all back. All right, have a good one, Momentum Trader. Nice job, ENCDs. Let's see what it does on this 1 minute pullback. I was thinking that the 5 minute candle would finish closing before it made its pop there, so it kind of caught me off guard there. It was a little bit unexpected. I was waiting for the 5 minute candle to close before the surge in volume happened, and then it just ended up going without me, unfortunately. But probably the better thing to focus on would have been the breakthrough 3. So even if it went early, I should have just hit the buy button right at 3. Because I said that I knew that that was a level for it to break. But I tried anticipating what it was going to do, and my anticipation was incorrect, so I just didn't end up hitting the button. And I was too busy speaking there instead of buying the pullback. Let's see, does 460 hold? I'm going to buy the dip here. Oh, I was on the wrong screen. I'm going to buy the dip here at 460, looking for the squeeze up. Stop is 450. I'm trying to buy the micro pullback, expecting the next leg up to 5. I don't really like how it's stalling out there. We got some sellers. I tried to get out on the ask there. No, I have to get out, I think. Just take the loss. I tried to get out on the ask there for a break-even trade. Let's see, maybe it gives us a second bull flag pattern here. Does it hold 450? I'll take a position there, looking for the squeeze back up through 463 for that bull flag pattern. Top is 435 or 445. No, it seems to be a false break. That breaks through there. No, I think I'm just going to take the loss. I thought that this was going to be a second bull flag pattern for the break back through 463. And my trades right there are kind of poor, to be honest. I should have bought this first pullback. We're working on getting rid of our hesitation. So I tried to buy a bit early to anticipate that first candle to make a new high. It didn't work. And I also tried buying this micro pullback at 465 for that level to hold. EHGO, the moneymaker. Yeah, EHGO was the opportunity today. I think I just messed it up. Because now I'm 2 for 2 losses on the day. According to my rules, this is where I stop. And now it's tanking. So I think it's going to be a red week this week. Unless I take advantage of a good opportunity tomorrow to make back the $25 red day and the $12 red day from yesterday. But as I said in the title, we're going to have to fail our way to success. I think that this entry here was okay at 452 because this was a bull flag pattern with a lighter volume on the selling candle and the pullback. So it had a chance to at least pop back up to 5, if not break through. I should have bought this first pullback right here. But I was too busy talking instead of actually watching it properly. So I need to get better about that. And I definitely should have bought it for the break of 3 down here. But it didn't go as I expected it to. I should have bought immediately for 3, the break of 3, as I had said. But I was waiting for that 5-minute candle to finish closing to give us that surge of volume. But it just went without me. Hey, Ben. Yeah, it goes into a halt down. I thought for sure that this would just continue going parabolic because we've been having so many Chinese stocks just continuously halting up recently. It's surprising to me that this is halting down now. And it's resuming at 283. Oh, Weeble doesn't show halts? Oh, that's not good. Well, you might need to, I think you might need to enable halt bands. I think that's not a default setting for whatever reason, which is stupid. So you might need to go in and enable it. Is it called NBBO or something? You might need to enable that. But they should just have that enabled by default. I don't know why they don't have that enabled by default. CJMB. Oh yeah, I see that. So I think I'm going to do my recap here. I got 2 losses for the day, so I don't think I'm going to take any more trades. So I took a trade right here on that pullback, the micro pullback, and I took a trade right around here for first candle to make a new high on the 1 minute. I don't know why it draws weird on the 1 minute. But I don't think that these were terrible trades. I think the first trade I got a little bit greedy trying to get out on the ask when I should have just gotten out as it stalled out on the bid and just cut it because it didn't continue pushing. So instead I ended up taking a loss there that I could have avoided. Could have been break even on the trade. And on this one, I don't think the second pullback was a bad trade either. I just tried to anticipate first candle to make a new high because this formed as a nice doji candle with lighter volume selling on the pullback. And these Chinese stocks have been doing well recently, so I thought there would be enough volume to push through. But it didn't work. I ended up missing this trade back here, and I ended up missing this trade back here, which were the 2 easiest money trades of the day. So as I've been doing, I end up missing the easiest money trades, and then I get in the wrong spot when the stock is a little bit extended. But I think the key for today is that I didn't really hesitate on the trades up here. I got in on patterns that I thought that were good, that I thought were okay and had a decent chance of working, and they just didn't work out. And for the rest of the day today, we stayed disciplined and we didn't trade any of the nonsense. So I think we're going to call today a successful red day. But keeping in mind that I could have been green today. And I missed 2 green days on Monday and Tuesday. So this could have been a green week using my strategy. But I need to continue working on my hesitation. I need to be quicker about my entries and making decisions. But I mean, the loss today and yesterday isn't anything I can't handle. Could easily make that back with 1 big green day, one or 2 green days. So I'm not gonna make it make the red day any worse. I'm just gonna call it here. Come back tomorrow and continue plugging away. As the title says, we got to become a good loser, and we're going to fail our way to success until that hesitation is gone. It doesn't matter if I win or lose today, because as long as I'm focusing on the process and getting in on my setups, then it doesn't matter. We're eventually going to rid ourselves of that hesitation. Thank you, Center Star. I appreciate that. See, no, I'm not going to trade the dip and rip on CJMB. That sounds like a gamble to me. I was willing to try and trade a dip and rip yesterday on the other Chinese stock because they've been working really well. But this one doesn't have any news. Like, yes, it is up and our 3rd leading gainer right now. And it's continuation from the past couple of days here. But this one seems a lot more risky to me. This one seems more like gambling, trading the 6th day of continuation. Like, it does have news, but it's 6th day of continuation. Like, I don't know when this is eventually gonna halt and reverse down. But I think I'm just not gonna make the red day any worse and come back and trade things that I normally do well with. The market doesn't help with hesitation. Trust is lost. Everything comes down. Yeah, this market has been kind of interesting. I wouldn't say it's like a super cold market, as I said earlier on stream. I think it's somewhere in between hot and cold, where traders are willing to jump on stocks that are popping up with news that have good news, and they move up 200, 300%. But in between those times, well, nothing is moving. It's just very choppy. Lots of pop and drops that you got to be careful of. The opportunities are there, but they're scarce. And you got to take advantage of them when they do appear, or else you're going to end up like me, buying the backside of the move and being right on the day when the stock is up 100%. Have to be ready for the opportunities. Having some faith for W buy. Um, I don't have any faith in this thing. Low VWAP now. All the way down from 165. MACD's negative. Who knows? It could curl back up later in the day, but I think this will take a while for it to get anywhere. It looks like that dip and rip worked, but it was a very scary dip and rip. Dip from 250 all the way down to 214. Pretty nasty. It ends up coming up. Like it's chopping around a little bit. What I was worried about. Thank you, Kingman. Yeah, that's part of my rules. I don't trade past 10:30 no matter what, because after 10:30, algorithmic trading starts becoming more prevalent. There's a lot of people that just step away around that time, around 10:30, and then they come back for power hour around 3:30. And between those times, there's a lot more algorithmic trading. That's why you often see stocks consolidating for long periods of times, and then around 3:30, just before the closing bell, you have stocks popping up like 1,000%. But I do work a 9 to 5 job, so I can't stick around for or come back for power hour and the closing bell, unfortunately. So for now, it's just up until 9:30, 10. Some days I will, like tomorrow, I will have to get off a little bit earlier to deal with work stuff. So I'll probably only be streaming until 9 tomorrow. Thank you, Seedling. I'm optimistic about my future because I'm able to follow rules and maintain discipline. And I mean, I'm further in the red now. Last I showed my metrics a couple of days ago, I'm over 200 trades. I'm basically break even, down like $50. Now I'm down $75, but over 200 trades, trading with 50 to 100 shares. That's basically break even if you don't count the commissions. I'm losing on commissions. But I believe that I can make this back. And what I'm working on right now is just getting rid of this hesitation on buying some of this stuff. Like this wasn't hesitation. I just wasn't watching. I don't know why I took my eyes away and started yapping like an idiot. instead of actually watching the pullback. Started yapping about why I didn't get in down here. That was just stupid. And then this first candle, when it popped up at 3, it just didn't pop when I expected it to. So I wasn't quick enough to get in and just went without me, unfortunately. It is what it is. As we continue streaming and continue trading, we're gonna get enough experience to stop making these dumb mistakes. Candyman actually has been doing well recently, though. Candyman, he's had like a green month almost now, which is like abnormal for him. I check in on Candyman all the time because I like watching other people who are honest and I know are showing their true P&Ls that are early on in their journey, because it's very interesting me to see different mindsets. Um, Candyman in particular has, so far, he could go back down the revenge trading path, but he's been like sticking to he's been doing some closet trading, but his month has been green. How did he do today? Can't Hard to see this quality. Yeah, it looks like he was green again today, even though it was a small green. Yeah, I'm glad that he's finally doing well. But I think if someone like Candyman, like I would be very happy to see Candyman do well in the long run, because if someone like Candyman can turn his trading around and fix his mindset and his discipline, that would be inspiring to a lot of people, because Candyman just 2 or 3 months ago was like the perfect epitome, like the perfect example of a trader who had significant discipline issues, like holding and hoping, revenge trading, not being able to put down the charts, like coming back, trading all day. If he can fix that and continue doing that long run and actually become successfully profitable consistently, that would be inspiring to a lot of traders. I genuinely hope that Candyman continues in the direction that he's going, and that he doesn't revert back to the discipline issues that he had before. But yeah, I'm kind of yapping here. I'm not even looking at my charts anymore. We're not taking any more trades. But I think this is the most important part. Like once he's dealing with his discipline issues, then he starts making money. And I think a change in mentality is going to be the defining shift in your trading, as long as you have a back tested strategy. A DJ? Are you asking about DJ? DJ? If you're asking about DJ Momentum Mastery, um, I believe he's a fake sim trader based on evidence that others have presented to me. he trades in Webull, and um, you notice sometimes if he's not covering his fills, like his price fills, that he gets partial fills during pre-market hours, which means that he's trading in the simulator, because if you're filling out limit orders during pre-market hours, you can't get filled partials. Just last I checked, he was using Webull. The last stream that I looked at, he was using Webull. I mean, if I can look today. Let's see what he was trading with today. It says in his title that he's trading with Webull. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Mac Webull interface. But the reason why is because you're not supposed to be able to get partial fills during pre-market hours when you're using limit orders. So if you notice that he covers his fill prices, right? He covers the partial fills. That's why you see dot 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 at the end of his fills. And when he's actually trading with real money, he doesn't cover the partials, and you can see that he's getting full fills. But there's a few people in the trading community that I've talked with, and they said that they were once a part of his program, and they found out that he was sim trading, and that's how they figured it out. And then they got banned uh, from his community because they found out he was sim trading. So, I mean, I looked into it a little bit. Yeah, you're not supposed to get partial fills when you're trading limit orders in pre-market and Webull. So it seems like solid evidence to me. And I mean, this is a testimony from 3 or 4 people who actually were in his program, his VIP program, and then they all got banned. So I think DJ is a fake sim trader, unfortunately. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, it's the dot is there, Ben, because he's hiding his partials. So he doesn't show the full partial order because he knows that he got discovered before because of his partial fills. That's why he hides them. Yeah, the other thing is that apparently, like, there's been several times where he's been down red, like a few $1,000s or something, and then he comes back later in the day without streaming, and he's like, "Oh, I made it all back off stream." But I mean, this is why people like DJ are why I want to be as transparent as possible. I had redacted my level 2 before because I was worried about getting banned, but I ended up getting permission from TradeZero to leave my tape on screen. along with everything else, my order entry window and everything, so that you guys can see that I'm trading with real money. I'm not being, I'm being transparent. But I do worry about other streamers now, knowing that I can get permission to stream level 2 on stream. If they're not showing their order entry window and they're level 2, I do worry about whether or not they're being legitimate about their P&L. They claim to be profitable. Yeah, Weeble sometimes. So Weeble in the simulator, sometimes it'll just fill you immediately on the ask, and it'll fill up through, like it'll fill partial shares. Even during pre-market, like during regular market hours, you can get filled partial shares with Weeble if you set a market order, I believe. But usually you're still not supposed to fill partial shares unless you specifically put it in an order to fill for like half a share, as far as I'm aware. So if you go back and look through his VODs, sometimes you'll see he's not hiding his partials, and it'll be like 1.1500, and that means that it's they're filling at 115, but they're not filling a partial share. But if it's 1.1513, then that's filling like partial shares. Or how was it exactly? Partial prices, I suppose. Partial prices and then sometimes partial shares. Kind of odd. Yeah, well, the reason why the prices are like that is because they're filling partial shares. So if it's like 1.1513, then that means that they're getting like partial shares at different prices, like in between what you should actually be getting them. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but the basics is that, yeah, if you're in the sim, that's possible, getting filled like that. And if you're trading with actual real money and you're filling out limit orders, it's gonna fill you at the nearest price. So like EHGO 3.01, like if I put in a limit order right now, it's gonna fill me at 3.01 for how many shares are available. It's not gonna fill me at 3.0195, 0.3.019594, like stuff like that, right? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense in a simulator. That's why he hides it. Or if you specifically put in a fill for a partial share, or if you're trading below $1. How much commission I pay using Trade Zero? Yeah, you're correct. It's about $2 per trade round trip. So like $1 on the buy, $1 on the sell. They charge you a flat fee below 100 shares, which ends up totaling just over $1. After 100 shares, they charge you a commission of 0.005 per share, plus some fees. Yeah, and then there's the $59 a month for the Trade Zero Pro platform subscription as well. That's for like the level 2 data and stuff. That includes level 2 data. So it's not uncommon for people to have to pay for level 2 market data on top of their platform, but I think you get access to the pro platform and level 2 data. It's just one sub. But the level 2 data on other platforms is a little bit cheaper sometimes. Like I think Weeble, I looked into the market data, and um it was only like $3 to get access to the market data. $3 sub. It's like nothing. But so I mean, Trade Zero is a little bit more expensive. NCDs, there's a $0 commission if you execute a non-marketable limit order. So non-marketable means that your order must not create an immediate match. So for example, if I put an order up at 350 right now on EHGO, while it's trading at 3.15, and the price comes up and my order is sitting on the ask, and it comes up and fills that order, then I'm creating liquidity for the market and they don't trade me any commissions on that. So it's $0 commissions for non-marketable limit orders. But if I buy 10 cents above the ask right now and it creates an immediate match and I get filled instantly, then they charge me commission on that. So yes, if you use a limit order to buy and it immediately fills, then that's considered a marketable order. Yes, a limit order on the ask is a marketable order. They charge you commission on that. So the $0 commission isn't really a factor for me because I'm always buying through marketable orders. When I'm getting in, I want to get in instantly, and when I get out, I want to get out instantly. So that $0 commission almost never applies to me. Very rare. I'm not going to be leaving my order on the bid or the ask. It takes too long. It would be more relevant for someone who's trading maybe large caps and they're setting orders like stop buys. You paid $1,200 for 2 months. You must be. Are you trading with larger? You must be trading with larger share size and scalping pretty frequently. If you're so there's a bit of a trade-off in a certain sense that if you're a hyper scalper, you want that faster execution speed and you kind of need to pay for it. But usually faster execution speed comes with commissions, which can eat up a large part of your profits. But there are some commission-free brokers that do have decent execution speed, in which case, like for hyper scalping, Trade Zero probably wouldn't be good because you're gonna get eaten alive by commissions. Probably want to trade with something that has decent execution speed but is commission-free. But for my strategy in particular, my commissions aren't that bad because I'm only taking 1 to maybe 5 trades per day maximum. So the commissions, they add up, but they're not terrible. And if I'm trading with bigger share size, which I eventually will, and I'm pulling 15, maybe 15 cents out of the market per day on average, the commissions are going to be a very small part of that if I'm doing that in just 1 or 2 trades or 1 to 5 trades. Apparently he uses some hotkeys now on Quest Trade, but it's very simple hotkeys, like in and out, probably. I don't know if his strategy necessarily requires hotkeys though, because he's not scalping like Ross's, I don't think. His strategy seems more like he's using the 5-minute chart. So he's kind of holding trades for a lot longer. Last I checked, at least. That one Muslim trader. It's a little bit odd. He's using the web browser TZ1 for his level 2, but he has the Quest Trade interface there. Oh, he's actually trading with 1,400 shares. Well, I know that Quest Trade's level 2 isn't very good. Yeah, this guy should be legit. I mean, you can see he's not hiding his account name. He's trading in a cash account, even though I can't see his level 2. But I can see the auto hotkey thing. He trades cash because he's Muslim. I don't know anything about their religion. Oh no, not Candyman. Um, that one Muslim trader that ENCD mentioned in chat, Candyman's still only trading like 5 or 10 shares or something, or like 25 shares. But I am interested in finding other people and streamers who are actually legit. Yeah, at least in this stream that he streamed one day ago, that one Muslim trader. Yeah, he's legit. You can see his orders on his trading view as well, and it's connected to Questrade with his cash account. So that's cool. It's one other person in my subscription list to watch. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, if anyone has any other recommendations for like people on YouTube that are actively streaming and you think are legit, let me know because I will subscribe to them and I will watch them. They get the same mortgage payment for the next 30 years. So I'm an accountant and I actually wasn't aware of this if mortgages are different for certain groups of people. I know that there's different types of mortgages you can get. The most common type of mortgage is blended payments. So you buy a mortgage with a certain rate and technically the interest is built into the payment. You think about it, like I'm not sure how their mortgage is different from that. Like you use blended payments, like you say your blended payment is $1,000 a month, and a good portion of that, probably for your mortgage being like whatever it is, 500,000, $800,000, a good portion of that is going to be interest on that blended payment, and then a small portion is going to be principal. And then over the course of the mortgage's life, as you start paying down that mortgage, the interest portion will get smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually you pay off the whole house. Most of your payments are going towards paying off the principal of the mortgage, paying the balance down, the debt balance, until eventually it's wiped out. I didn't know that there was like different types of mortgages for people of different cultures. This is an amortization. Hmm. Yes, I do know the one Lance. I have him subscribed, but he doesn't live stream or anything. He just releases videos. I know about One Lance and SMB Capital and stuff. Um, Sometimes it's useful to see people live streaming, like actually in the middle of their trades, so you get the raw, unfiltered viewpoint of somebody actually trading and going through the motions and experiencing loss, experiencing emotions during the trade, what decisions they're making. So I do like the One Lance and SMB Capital and Ross Cameron. Ross Cameron has his live streams. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep paying for them because they're expensive. But it is useful to see someone live streaming instead of getting just a video about it. Sometimes the video is a bit too sanitized. You don't really need to subscribe to his. Yeah. So if you're a beginner, it's pretty useful to listen in on the decisions that he's making because there's a lot of information that comes in bits and pieces that maybe if you didn't go through every single one of his courses, maybe you forgot about, or maybe you learned about it but you didn't learn how to apply it. So if you're a beginner, you can listen into him for a while and get and pick up on bits and pieces and his learn his process and stuff. But after you're done with that, it's kind of a hindrance to actually have him up on the side and listening to him. Because at a certain point, you kind of need to take responsibility for your own actions, right? Like if you're always listening into him to hear his thoughts about trade ideas and what trades you should take, then you're never going to progress as a trader. So that's why for the past few months, like I have him on the side, muted, because I'm interested to compare if my stock selection, if we're looking at the same things generally. But more and more, I've kind of been phasing him out because it's not a good thing to rely on him or rely on someone else for your ideas, because this is also part of my hesitation, right? Is now I'm relying on myself more and my own ideas, and I'm not getting any outside confirmation from anybody. So, you know, when you're a new soldier and you're in Vietnam for the first time, there's all the trees are speaking Vietnamese and you're afraid to take one step forward. But over time, you learn to deal with it. You see a few others on YouTube, but they're all trading futures, no one trading stocks. I have an issue with a lot of the futures and like options traders because a lot of them are really fake. The reason why there's so many trading ES futures and trading the S&P 500 and minis and these different markets is because it looks impressive, right? They're probably a lot of them aren't trading with real money, but they're trying to sell something to people. They're trying to sell, look at me, I'm trading with a $10 million account. I just have to enter this position once a day and I can make like 30,000 or like $100,000. They're selling a lifestyle, not the trading. There's a couple of them that I'm suspicious of not being real, and they're like, I live in a mansion, I have a Lambo, this and that. I travel everywhere. I'm trading with a 10 million or a $30 million account. So it seems more impressive to people, and that's why some of them do have a few million subscribers, even though they're probably really fake and trading in a sim. And people buy it. Whereas in small caps, you can't really do that. You can't say I'm trading with a $10 million account. Like, this is not possible. You're going to get called out. Bear bulls traders, high float traders, James Rich Young. Sometimes I do watch other streamers that are trading different strategies to see if I'm interested, but I think I'm past that point. I don't think I'm going to trade other strategies other than small cap. They just don't suit me right now. Sometimes I listen in on some people who are trading like futures just because I like their personality and because it's kind of interesting. And I know that they're like they're losing money, so I know that they're not faking their way. Not, someone's not going to fake losing money. But I would prefer to watch people who are trading the same strategy, same type of small cap momentum strategy, because it's nice to hear other people's thought process. And by the way, I don't have to work today. That's why I'm just kind of yapping away for a little while. Normally I'd be off by now, but I don't have to work today, so I'm just chilling for a little bit. I'm not even looking at my charts. We already have 2 losses. He has a lot of fees. They add up. So if you're privileged like me and you have a 9 to 5 job and you have a bunch of savings, you can afford it. But over the long term, do you really want to pay for it anymore? I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. Eventually you want to move on and take what you learn with you. One thing I will say is that if you don't have a community of traders, it is nice having his chat because you can see what other people are saying. I don't have any programming experience. No programming experience. I don't know who Sean Dekmar is. You feel like Ross takes stabs at something he doesn't show any real setup, banks on a tailwind? Hmm, I think he takes stabs at stuff that has potential. Sometimes the tailwind does prop up his trades a little bit, but I've said it before, but he makes most of his money on parabolic momentum when things are just skyrocketing and he can take advantage of it and be really aggressive. He's not really the deciding factor in those trades. Probably the majority of his profit comes from like the 20% of his trades. Yeah, it does create a little bit of a tailwind sometimes. I don't know if Weeble does that or not. Then you have to ask somebody else in chat. Nedim says my fills on TZ are awful. Already started 10 cents behind and took a 10-cent loss, so down double. Are you saying that my execution, like my personal execution is awful, or are you saying that Trade Zero is filling me 10 cents behind? Are you saying it's my fault or Trade Zero's fault? I mean, I can open up my my archive. I'll stop my recording. I'm not taking any more trades, so I'll open my archive of my trades here. So right here, I should have taken this trade. I was yapping away. Let's see. So right here, I look to get in on this pullback. So there were 2 seconds left to this candle close, and it was holding this previous level of 461, right? So right here, I was thinking, get in for the hold of 461. Let's look again. So I'll slow this down. Speed 0.25. Let's see. So right here, 463, 465. So candle closed. I put it in order. I got filled at 469. I don't think I got filled in too high there. I think I got filled where I intended. Let's go to my next fill. It was like right around here that I cut it, right? As it started dropping. Let's go reduce the speed again. So right there, I put through an order to sell on the bid. So you put it 10 cents below the bid. So I should have gotten out around 445. It filled me at 446. My bad. I was trying to show my VOD, but I didn't show the VOD. I was looking at my fills. So I was looking here as it, like I put it on 0.25 speed on my VOD recording because someone, Nedim said that my fills on TZ are awful, but I think he already left because he didn't answer whether it was my fault or Trade Zero's fault. So I was just looking at Trade Zero. So if to see if it was what he meant. But if it's not the Trade Zero fills, then he's probably talking about me. Okay. So were you saying that like my personal fills, like am I getting in the wrong spot? Like my entries and my exits are really bad? Or are you saying that Trade Zero is the one that's like filling me? Because if it's me, then of course I'm willing to, like I like taking people's feedback, right? So right there, I think I got out where I intended on that one. But what about this next trade? So here I bought, so that was where I bought. So I bought right there, 452. bid in the ask with 456 and 457. That was at 935. And so I'll rewind that a little bit. Okay, I'll slow it down. So I bought right here early because we were holding that 450 level, and I was thinking this is a bull flag pattern, higher volume buying, lower volume selling. I was thinking buy a little bit early just as the candle's closing with 450, maybe 445 as a stop, which is around the low of the candle there, maybe 435. So I intended to get in right there at 450, 452. So I got filled as I intended there, 452, waiting for first candle to make a new high. I bought a little bit early to anticipate what was going to happen, but it didn't end up breaking through there. Goes up to 458 and then rejects. I gave it a little bit more time just in case it bounced off of 450. My stop was going to be around 445, 440. I don't remember exactly what stop I set. I think it was around 445 or 440. So let's see what it looks like on the exit here. It starts dropping there. So I hit the button right there and I got out at 438. I mean, it looks accurate. Got out with 12, 14 cent. That was a 14-cent loss. I feel like I got in where I intended and I got out where I intended. I don't feel like I had too much slippage on my entry or exits there. So you say both. I feel like TZ gave me the worst fills once I wanted to buy into momentum, but on the other side, if resistance at 4.5 holds, 4.5 holds, goes, and you hit the ask for 4.7, look for 5, it's almost a 1-to-1. So if I said that my stop was around 15 cents, I had my order, yeah, I had my order up at 473, but 1-to-1 is the minimum risk that I'm willing to take, right? So if my stop is 15 cents and I get unlucky and I get filled all the way up at 473, then I'm still willing to take that 1-to-1 risk because this is the type of stock that has the potential to make more than just a 50-cent move. Like the potential upside because of my stock selection is still pretty high. Like the float is 2 million shares. It's up 157%. It's a Chinese stock. Even though it doesn't have news, Chinese stocks have been making big moves recently. I'm thinking that if it does break through for 460, does the first candle to make a new high, then, if I get filled 473, at worst it's 1-to-1. At best, I get filled where I intend at 455. And it's still a 2-to-1 profit to loss ratio if I'm risking 15 cents for the retest of $5, because the next level that I'm looking for is going to be that retest of high day at around $5, my target. So yeah, I mean, I put my order up at 4.7, but I don't intend to get filled at 4.7. That's just the maximum that I'm willing to get filled at. You know, I don't mind getting filled a little bit higher because of the risk reward on these. 1-to-1 is minimum, but yeah, I definitely don't intend to get filled up at 4.7 all the time. So I did get filled at where I intended here at around 4.5, right as that candle was about to close, to anticipate first candle to make a new high. I don't think, yeah, I'm willing to stick by my guns on this particular trade. What you're saying could be true on my other trades and some of my other trades, where I'm getting filled too high in trade zero. That's definitely a possibility. I think for this particular trade, at least, I got filled where I intended and exited where I intended. It's just that the trade didn't end up working, and it was safer to enter down here when the stop was a little bit less extended. I think the first pullback was good, and then the breakthrough 3 was good, and then I got in on this one up here after missing both of them, even though it was, you know, it was a okay trade. It was going to be a little bit riskier, especially since the 200 moving average is up at 521. We're closer to the 200 moving average than we were before on this stock. We still have room here. I was thinking that this would probably retest high rather than break through high. Because we still had higher volume buying, lower volume selling. I think it was okay. I think this trade back here, though, I should have exited earlier as it stalled out rather than taking a loss on the nose for no reason. I got greedy and I tried getting out on the ask here twice, right? I saw it was stalling out and I'm like, I'm going to try and get out at 471. See some sellers popping up there. 1,000 share seller. It's like I'm in the position, but it's not going anywhere. I'm thinking maybe this is a 1-minute micro pullback, but then I see more sellers popping it up. I'm like, I'm going to try to get out on the ask up here at 477. See, I fill an order there instead of just getting out on the bid, being break even on the trade, getting a small green, and I wait too long and it goes down, and I take a loss on the nose for basically no reason. This is a trade that sucked. I should have just got out on the bid. The entry was fine. The exit was bad. The exit was greedy. Yeah, back here I even had my order filled out at 3 and I was waiting for this pop. Yeah, there was 35 seconds left in this candle. And the 5-minute candle as well. I was thinking, you know, this isn't going to go for another 30 seconds. But as soon as MACD crossed over and went positive there is when it spiked. I should have taken that into account. MACD crosses positive and suddenly we're going, right? I should have taken that into account. I'm still on tight speed. Yeah, so cross is positive there, and then it just goes. That was a mistake not buying there. Instead, I was trying to wait for the candle to close, but it was too late. It was too late. It didn't go as I expected, but I should have expected differently. All right, have a good one, NCDs. I'm going to get off here in a minute myself, I think. I think I'd be up long enough. But yeah, maybe I do need to do some more VOD review to see if like my fills are actually filling as I intend on all of my trades. That could be a review for me to do at some point. But I think today's mistake was more just getting in on the wrong side of the move when it's extended, as per usual. Other than like the occasional, like my profit loss ratio is really good, and the reason for that is because sometimes, like I'm willing to cut my losses. My accuracy is really poor. I cut my losses quickly, and the trades that I am successful with, I let them run. So I don't let my losers run, but I let my winners run. And occasionally I will get a winner that's a really big winner. That's why my profit loss ratio right now, in the past 30 or 40 days, is like 2.5 or 3 to 1. But the key for me is going to be getting in where I should be getting in and improving my accuracy rather than getting in while it's extended. And not hesitating on the front side of the move. And I tried to put my foot down on the psychology today, but I gotta stop yapping so much when things are moving and just focus on the trade. But I think that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna shut it down here. Thanks everyone that stopped by. Tomorrow's what, Friday? The last day of the week to try and make some of it back. But if there's no trades, there's no trades. But yeah, until next time, take care, stay green. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Take care, Tig.